What's up, boys and girls? I've got this 540 fixed. No more fail-safe. So now I'm going to fill you with all kinds of information on what I think happened and what I did to fix this car. So, as you all know, if you watched the other video, I hit a piece of debris in the road. The piece of debris struck the underside of the car. It hit my rear O2 sensor and smashed it pretty good. So the car shut down, wouldn't start. Actually, it would start, but it would just immediately die. So the first thing I did was I dug into this compartment, took the fuses out of that little 5 block, checked them, they were all good. Checked the fuses here in the dash. Pulled this up and just did some power testing to make sure power's still going through this unit. We checked all the grounds, or at least I think all the grounds. This one, the one behind it, the one over there, the one down here in the motor mount. There's some in the trunk. Nothing seemed to work. So we got the old trusty multimeter out, and I started digging into this thing pretty heavily. So the first test I conducted was the mass airflow sensor, and you're supposed to have 5 volt, 12 volt ground, and then your intake air temperature. So when I tested this mass airflow sensor, I had no ground. It was actually showing power on the ground wire. So for the time being, I rigged up this little temporary ground just here off the valve cover. And yeah, I don't even got it taped to nothing. It's just ground, it's not power. And I tapped in to my ground wire for my mass air sensor. When I did this, I immediately lost the voltage that was in that line, and I had a ground. Well, I thought, well, gee, maybe I fixed it. So after doing this first step, I get in the car, I started it up, and the car would start, and it stayed running, but it was still doing the whoomp, a bump, a bump, a bump thing. So anyhow, I said, well, we've got the mass air wire tested, everything is perfect here now. So the next thing I did was I get in the car and we wire tested the throttle pedal with my sprint booster unplugged. So when I get down here and I tested this pedal, there's 2 5 volt references on it, and there's 2 grounds, and then you get your 2 signal wires. When I tested the gas pedal tested good. Everything was the way it should be. So then I came out and we tested this throttle body by back probing. And when I back probed the throttle body, I was getting weird readings, not what they should be. So I then had the key on for quite some time. I noticed that the motor on the top of the throttle body was getting quite warm, and the car actually threw a code saying that the throttle actuator or whatever inside of this was sticking. So this is an 84 mil that I bought from Turner Motorsports. This is about a $500 unit, and comes with a little piece. It comes with an adapter harness. I'm not sure where I laid that, but anyway, Turner sells you this bigger throttle body with an adapter harness. So I got my stock throttle body out, my 80 mil one that came on the car from factory, that's been sitting around for years. And originally I just left this throttle body bolted on, I laid the other throttle body up here, and I undid the connector for this throttle body, went back to the factory connector for this one, plugged it in, laid it up there, get in the car, turn the key on, and I had my scanner plugged in the whole time, which I still do. And without even bolting that throttle body on, as soon as I just plugged it in and laid it there, all my engine throttle codes were still there. So I said, what in the hell is going on here? So anyway, I took the gas pedal out after that, and when I took the gas pedal out, I unhooked my sprint booster, which is like the gas pedal accelerator. There's the adapter harness for the throttle body. Sorry if this is a lot of information, but I'm just trying to tell you guys everything that I did. So I took the throttle pedal apart, and I took this sprint booster off, because as I told you in the first video, is when this sprint booster's hooked up, this little bugger usually always has power and is usually always lit up. So unhook this to find out that this is shorted out and malfunctioned, along with this throttle body shorted out and malfunctioned, along with the mass airflow sensor losing ground. So my theory is, even though I was told by a well-reputable shop that works on BMWs, I asked them to see if that oxygen sensor was tied into any of this stuff that it could short it out and harm it, and I was told no. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a ground somewhere missing that I can't find, but literally this car is running 100% now. But if I unhook this ground wire, it'll shut right down and it'll go right back to doing the same foolishness. And without this wire, it starts throwing a hot film air mass code. So it's kind of frustrating, you know, when something like this happens. Is bad enough, but when it fries, you know, here's a probably $250 part or $300 part. There's a $500 part with an adapter harness. So, you know, right there we've got, let's say, $1,000 almost. And I strongly feel that when the piece of debris hit the oxygen sensor, all those wires hit together, clearly caused some kind of a short. No fuses were taken out. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing it did some harm to the ground inside of the ECU. Luckily, it didn't harm any of the power lines, because, you know, like I say, literally all I had to do was hook this ground wire up to my mass airflow sensor, and magic happened and the car started. But this one was pretty involved, because as you see, I had a multitude of problems, right from the air sensor to the throttle body. And the throttle pedal is the factory original one, but where I had this sprint booster onto it, I'm guessing instead of the shorting out the pedal, the short went through this unit that was hooked to it beforehand. So, not a great situation. It always sucks when you got to take, you know, power adders or performance parts off of your car and go back to factory original, but that's what we did here in this case. And like I say, there's no codes whatsoever on the car now. She's back up and good to go. See, no fail safe. And on the scanner, the only thing I have is back to my original code is the DTML heating, which doesn't seem to be affecting the car. And I know the poor old car doesn't look great. I had it looking really good once upon a time when I first got it, but we had one deer bounce off this fender. We had another deer bounce off the bumper. Had another deer bounce off this fender, so I've hit 3 deer with this car so far. Had a rabbit go through the bottom end, had a raccoon go through the bottom end. So it's just one of them things. Yeah, I wish the old car was mint. I'd like to have it fixed up perfect, but it's a good old reliable car. It's got a crap ton of miles onto it, so it is what it is at this point. I might try to order up a new bumper over winter and throw a coat of paint on that, but we still got dents in the fenders and we got scratches here in the door. It was here when I bought it. So for you guys that want this car to be perfect and mint, you might not ever see it, because this is just my commuter car. My M5 is the car that I really put my time and effort into keeping clean and perfect and pretty. But that being said, you know, if the DME is gone in this car, 1, it's big money. 2, they're hard to find. 3, you got to take the key, the EWS module, the computer. It all has to be programmed together. So for the simple fact of running a ground wire, I think I'm going to stick to this method instead of wasting the big money on a computer or DME or further troubleshooting of this. It works now, it drives. That's really all that matters to me. So I really appreciate you guys that took the time to watch this video. I may post the wiring links on how to do wire tests, because they are hard to find, so we'll see about that. And yeah, this was a good one. I was frustrated last night to the point that I probably wouldn't have slept if I wouldn't have got this figured out and straightened out. And this here is man's best friend when it comes to shooting problems on these kind of cars. The hard part is finding the numbers to go by to actually do the testing. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe. Hopefully this will help somebody figure out their problems. I know this isn't the first time an oxygen sensor's been smashed and shorted something out and caused issues, so this is how I fixed it. Maybe it'll help you fix it.